is up guys, Julian Michael here of Social Vignerons. Welcome back to another wine video. This is going to be both episode 15 of the TWWJ series, Talking Wine with Julian, as well as episode 30 of the Tasting Wine with Julian series. Why? Because we are going to be talking about wine and learning and looking at a very specific appellation of Médoc that you should know about, that is called Listrac Médoc, and we are going to try to find some gems over there. I think it's a bit of an underrated area, not many people know about and many overlook, and hopefully when we taste the wines by Fourcas, Chateau Fourcas Laborie, and we've got 3 different vintages, so I'm sure one of them at least is going to be excellent. Those retail around $30-$35 in the US. Generally wines in the Médoc are very age-worthy and they really start getting very interesting after 10 or 15 years. But let's talk a little bit about the Listrac Médoc first, and I'm going to try to show you a map just here. It is one of the 6 communal appellation, the appellations that are named after a town in Médoc. So the other ones are obviously super famous. We're talking Margaux, we're talking Pauillac, we're talking Saint-Estèphe, we're talking Saint-Julien, and we're talking Moulis, which is the other one that is next to it, that is also not very famous. And then you have Listrac. There's not a whole lot to say about it, which is kind of relaxing to me. For once I don't have to speak for 10 minutes and it's going to be a bit of a shorter video for you as well. It's a rather small appellation. The vineyards there cover about 570 hectares, that's about 1400 acres. There's only about 20 chateaus on it, including one cooperative winery. The cooperative winery covers about 25% of the vineyard, so a bit of a small appellation. Obviously grape varieties are those of Bordeaux. A majority of Merlot you're going to find there in general, but there's also going to be some Cabernet Sauvignon, Petit Verdot, and a bit of Cabernet Franc. What makes Listrac Médoc both underrated and not as prestigious as its neighbor appellations of like Margaux and Pauillac is that the soil has a bit more clay, it's a bit more shallow as well, so the less gravel, so the roots and the vines don't have to go as deep. The soil is a little bit richer, which gives a bit of a bigger expression of the wines, maybe a little bit less refined, as well as, you know, just not as super fine as some of the neighboring appellations. That's it, because it's not so prestigious. It's not that expensive either, while the terroir is pretty close to everything else that you find in the Médoc, and the terroir is super good for Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon in particular. And that's kind of all there is to really know about Listrac Médoc. I mean, I'm sure if you go there, the people will tell you many stories, and I'm sure there is a lot more to know and to discover over there out of the 20 chateaus in particular. But really, for learning about wine, this is all you need to know, and then we are going to have to leave the wines talk for themselves. So today I am going to be tasting the wines, and I guess this label is very beautiful to look at it in the real world, but for the camera it's not perfect. Very shiny, nice and bright red color. I'm actually quite loving the contrast between the dark black and the red. The wines by Fourcas Bory. I've got vintage 2014 here, 15 and 16. Those are the Chateau Fourcas Bory is one of the 3 Fourcas chateaus that are pretty famous out of Listrac. So we've got Fourcas Bory, Fourcas Austin, and Fourcas Dupré. So the 3 chateaus that are named Fourcas and that are very famous. Fourcas Bory is owned by the same owner as Chateau Ducru Bocaillou out in Saint-Julien, one of the top Grand Cru classes of Médoc. So it should be very interesting, and let's just dig into it. Vintage 2016, the youngest wine, to see a little bit how it tastes before it's got any age. Wow, this is a really rich dark purple color. I'll try to show you here. It's dark, it's intense, it's purple. This looks super useful. Those wines age for about 12 months in 20% new oak barrels. I mean 100% in oak barrels, but 20% of the barrels are new, just to give it a bit of a oaky, smoky kick to it. But so those are typical, made in a typical Bordeaux Médoc tradition, aged in oak barrel for about a year, blended. What's interesting is there's about 70% Merlot in there, with 20% Cabernet Sauvignon and about 10% Petit Verdot. The vintages 2015 and 14 have about up to 20% Petit Verdot, which is not that common grape variety, but which is a grape variety that I absolutely love. It makes some full-bodied, very tannic wines with a very pungent floral character. I absolutely love Petit Verdot. The thing with Petit Verdot is that it's hard to ripen fully and well in Bordeaux in many vintages, even though now with the global warming and the better weather that they're getting in Bordeaux, they can't afford to make more and better Petit Verdot. It's also a rather difficult grape variety. It's difficult vine to grow because it's quite fragile. It's actually very green and it breaks very easily. So anyway, not many people pull a lot of Petit Verdot, but Fourcade Bory does. So especially for 14 and 15, I'm especially looking forward to taste the influence of the Petit Verdot. But let's stick to vintage 2016 for now. So big, dense, super dark color. I'm loving the color already. So this is a bit of a young wine, introvert. As I was saying, I suspect these wines will really need 10-15 years to develop fully and reach the full potential. So this is a bit of an introvert wine, but it does fit a super bright and bursting flavor, aromas of cherry and blackberry. It's juicy, it smells juicy. The typical cherry, dark cherry of the Merlot, but with a bursting raspberry, fresh and juicy expression as well. There's a bit of cocoa, dark chocolate in it, so it's tempting to smell at, and refined with this elegance, smokiness, and a bit of an ashy character that is typical of Merlot and that you only find in Bordeaux. I mean, this sort of fine expression of it that is so typical, in savoriness, a little bit of a soy sauce savoriness to it that is really typical of Bordeaux. So let's dig a bit further. Okay, wow, there's a lot of facets to this wine. First, it's a big burst of explosive, fresh and juicy flavors, as I was percepting from the nose already. Big burst of juicy fruitiness up front, but there's also an oily body, a bit of an ashy, smooth but a bit ashy texture, some finesse, but also the just enjoyable salivating feel of a nice Bordeaux wine with the edgeworthiness. You can taste that there's a lot of clay in the soil as well, because the tannins are soft and silky and a little bit granulous and dense. And yeah, I'm absolutely enjoying the Médoc 101 style to this wine, and it is really honest and frank and expressive. So this to me is a 91 plus out of 100 points. It will develop further. I mean, for this, if you're looking for a wine to age or to cellar for 5 years, 10 years, and make sure it's going to be ready to enjoy rather quickly, in the end, tasting it, I think in 5 years, maybe 3, 4, 5 years, it will already be fantastic. It is already very enjoyable thanks to this punchy fruitiness that it's got. If you're looking for a wine that you can store, you buy a case of this, or you buy six bottles, and you store them for 5 years, and then you can start enjoying them for the next 3, 4, 5 years that follow. For $30, this is a very precise, fresh and fruity, extremely well made and recommendable wine. 2015 Fourcade Bory. So you have to know that vintage 2015 was a rather warm and rich vintage, opulent vintage in the Bordeaux area. As I was saying, what's interesting with this 2015 vintage is that it's got 20% Petit Verdot and a majority of Merlot, 70% Merlot otherwise. So warm vintage, and you can smell it. The cherry aromas are ripe and richer here. It probably has a little less aging potential, but for drinking nonchalantly now, those are wines for pairing with rich foods. This one in particular will be fantastic for green meats, barbecues, tasty meats, stews, and this sort of rich meats. I mean, it's the middle of winter as I'm tasting this, and this is the perfect winter wine for any dish of winter, for cheese, any rich dish. Such a wine filled with gorgeous sun of Bordeaux is just a fantastic treat. Vintage 2015 to me is a 90 plus out of 100 wines. It's super interesting. It's okay. Let's try vintage 2014. So we expect a less generous vintage with 2014, although it's got a bit more age now as well, so it could be very interesting to see how the wine evolves over 2 years. So 14 is a bit more introvert. You can tell that it's evolved perhaps a little bit more. It's got a bit more of a tarry element to it, so it's a bit more shyer. Maybe it would need to be decanted a bit more, and actually I'm going to do that to give this wine a little bit more time and a little bit more air. As wine ages, often it does require a bit more time and a bit more air to open up, and it's definitely the case with vintage 2014. So I'm going to give this little baby 5 minutes to open up in a decanter. Here we go. So I've grabbed my favorite decanter. Let's free up this little baby of a wine and give it a sense of what the world tastes and smells like out there. Here we go. Oh, I actually love to do that. And you know, many wines do need a bit of time, a bit of air, a bit of aeration. When you smell that a wine has a bit of tar, it's a bit introvert, it struggles to express itself, and the fruit is not coming out just as well. You know, often that's a sign that you need to give it a bit of air, getting it through a decanter, so a lot of oxygen goes into it, and then give it half an hour to open up, which is exactly what I'm going to do. I'll see you in a second. Okay, so it's been half an hour. The wine hopefully has opened up, and so we can really assess how good this is going to taste. It's certainly developed a lot more spices. The fruit is starting to open up. I guess it would need another half an hour, which I don't have right now. But so remember that if you're tasting Fourcasse Bory, give it a solid hour. Open the bottle prior to serving, keeping some of the fresh raspberry characters, but the clove and the licorice characters are developing more and more, so it's acquiring depth and complexity and what you expect from a Bordeaux that is aged for quite some time. But you do have to love savoriness and a bit of animal and leathery character to develop into your wine. To love this type of wine, I personally love it, and that's also what makes those Bordeaux wines so age-worthy and so delicious once they age. So vintage 2014 to me, because it's starting to get some age, is creeping up from probably what was a 90 plus 91 points out of 100, but it's creeping up, as I was saying before. I think this is a wine that creeps up between 90, maybe 90 plus when it's young, and it creeps up half a point every second year. So a good buy, a good investment for pleasure. Really, this is not an investment wine that you're going to trade on, but this is a wine that you can not spend too much money on it, but the enjoyment, the rewards after 5 or 10 years of aging, if you like Bordeaux, is going to be really great value for money. Anyways, this was me for today. I hope you've placed Listrac on the map. Next time you go to Bordeaux and the Médoc, instead of staying on the route des Châteaux, on the main road that goes through all the first groves and things, maybe take a little detour to Listrac to check out a couple of chateaux, including Fourcasse Bory. I would have to check whether they're open to the public, but I'll check it later on and maybe have a look at a chateau or two in Listrac. There's some good gems to find over there. I hope you know now where Listrac is, and I hope you will remember that there are some great gems to find around the area of Bordeaux, and Listrac is one of them in Médoc. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you soon in the wine world.